back, everybody. I am finally back. On the community post I put out, I was dealing with some school stuff, making sure that everything was finished for the semester. Thankfully, that it is, so I'm done with school for now. But yeah, school's over, and lots of stuff happened over these past week and a half, 2 weeks. So today we're just gonna go just based off of the playoffs for NBA because there's so much stuff and old news, and I'd rather just talk about basketball in today's episode. We're just going to do NBA playoff recap and maybe movie Monday, probably movie Monday as well. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So playoffs have happened. At this point, we're about game 4, game 5 into some of these playoff series. Most of these playoff series have been pretty decent, and then we have the ones that have been just totally garbage. So we're gonna just start off since today is today's technically Tuesday. It's Tuesday morning, but I just finished watching the Laker game. I had it recorded this time, so I was able to watch it in full totality. So we're just gonna start off with this series first. My thoughts on it. So this is the box score. They only lost by 2 points. This was an absolute. I can't even describe how bad this series was. Denver, deserved to win this series, no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind they deserved it. But the Lakers played so bad, especially in Game 2 when they were up by 20. And kudos to Jamal Murray for hitting that 2-pointer over AD. But this is the box score for the Lakers. LeBron had 30 and 11 and 9. He played his butt off, and nobody was able to help him at least get 20. I know Reeves got 19, so you could basically round that up. Rui Hachimura, people were like, well, he's been bad the whole series. I kind of disagree. If you look at some of these other scores, you can obviously they lost, but the amount of shots that he had, I remember one game he went 1 for 7. If he's not getting enough shots, how is he supposed to get in rhythm? And then you expect him to hit every open shot that he needs to hit. And, if he's not in the rhythm of the offense, it's going to be hard for him to try to find a rhythm for his stroke for the ball to go through the hoop. So today he played really well. He got 15. D'Angelo Russell, terrible from 3, but he put up 14 and 6 assists. AD, there's no reason why he should have 11 shots. If LeBron had 21, like basically Austin Reeves had more impact on the offensive end than AD did tonight. And I know that AD did get injured late in the fourth quarter by a bump, so I don't know if his shoulder got dislocated or he just Porter just got a nerve in his left shoulder. I don't really know what happened. I do know that he's very, very injury prone, and basically a single bump, a fly could touch him and he could be hurt. But he had a really good playoff series. Coming into this game, he was averaging 32 and 14. So it kind of sucked that LeBron had to carry the load for most of the game. He played 44 minutes. I know they played in Denver, so the altitude was high and everything like that. But Gabe Vincent didn't play too much. Spencer Dinwiddie was able to get fouled late in the game, and then he missed 2 free throws that they really needed. Austin Reeves missed 2 free throws on a 3-point foul, and LeBron missed 2, and Hachimura and AD missed 1. So as you can see here, the free throws. They missed 9 free throws, and if they made all 9, or at least 5 of them, they would have still won. Or at least if everything else had the same outcome. But yeah, Jamal. This Denver Nuggets team, when you watch them on offense, it is insane how they operate. Obviously Jokic is going to be the guy that's going to have the ball in his hands most of the time, and then Jamal Murray, he led his team 32 with an injured calf, and he went 5 of 10 from three, 13 of 28 from the field, as you see here. Um, and it was just kind of it was insane that how he had a fast start in the first quarter. Porter was able to get him 26, Jokic 25, 18 and 9. Aaron Gordon offensively wasn't really like himself in the past 3 or 4 games, but he got 7 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal and a block. So he had basically a good Draymond Green type of game, and the bench, Reggie Jackson was able to give you 8, and Peyton Watson, Christian Brown, weren't really big contributors, but they did play quality minutes while they were in there. And the way that I feel like going into the series, the Lakers had to do several things to play perfect basketball. Obviously, they didn't because they lost. But if they could out rebound, they could out rebound the Nuggets. If they could limit I don't know why my mic's in the middle. If they could limit like I said, the rebounds. If they could limit the assists that are on wide open jumpers from Jokic, if they could limit the back cuts from Gordon, because everybody wants to double team Jokic. He's 7 feet, so he can see right over, and then the Aaron Gordon's cutting in, and LeBron, or I remember there was a play where LeBron just was ball watching and he just slipped through and got an easy dunk. So if you could limit the dunks, if you could give them tough shots on the perimeter and limit the turnovers, if you can make smart basketball decisions, they were going to win. If they just did those 5 things. Obviously in this game, they did a better job of containing Aaron Gordon's shot attempts around the basket. But I mean, they turned the ball over less than Denver. They won they got out rebounded by 4 basically from the defensive rebounds. But other than that, I mean, they didn't. They've led for most of the series. They've led. I just know that on this game and the whole series, both teams did not shoot well from 3. The Lakers shot 29%, and this time the Denver Nuggets shot the best they've ever had in this series with 42%. I don't know. I mean, this Laker group does need a lot of work. I don't understand how. LeBron's one of my favorite players ever. AD is going to go down as first ballot Hall of Famer, but I don't understand how this team can be so frustrating to watch. Because not only do you have to worry about the turnovers, but it's like, is AD going to get hurt? In this game, he shot 11 times. That should not happen if you're Anthony Davis. Hachimura and D'Angelo Russell had more shot attempts than he did. And both of them are getting paid significantly less. And, I just don't understand. But congratulations to Denver. They deserve the win. They deserve the whole series because of how bad the Lakers were. And hopefully next year, Jared Vanderbilt was injured. Christian Wood was injured. Gabe Vincent, this was his first series and first action other than the play-in game with New Orleans. But I mean, and then on the last play before I move on, Austin Reeves was guarding Jamal Murray most of the game. I don't understand why they still had him as the primary defender if Taurean Prince was in the game in the last 2 minutes, right? Jamal Murray did shoot a crazy shot on the left elbow for the most part, as far as where the spacing was. Taurean Prince, or Taurean, whichever one you prefer, 6'6", Jamal Murray 6'4". So as far as the height difference, he's 2 inches taller, but he only played 19 minutes. Austin Reeves played 34. So I don't understand why he wasn't how he wasn't the one defending him in the last 2 minutes. Um, that's here nor there because Jamal Murray was on the whole night, but at least if you were able to get somebody that was taller, fresher legs, it probably could have altered the shot a little bit. But who knows? They would have gone to overtime if he missed. But at the same time, Lakers lost their challenge, which I really felt like they should have just let Jokic hit the hit the two free throws because who knows what would have happened because they would have had that timeout left. But yeah, over with the series. Thank God that the Lakers are gone because I don't understand. I don't even know how they were going to play OKC or the Timberwolves. Sorry, the Timberwolves coming in. But we're going to also, since I brought up the Timberwolves, um, another sweep happened. Timberwolves and Phoenix Suns. The Suns came out strong in this game. They led by like 5 or 6 at halftime. They were containing Anthony Edwards very, very well. Whatever they were throwing out in the schemes, the defensive switches. He only had 9 points going into the half. Cat had 15. So first half looked pretty good for the Suns. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant were both going. And Bradley Beal had a terrible half. And then in the second half, I don't know how in the world they were able to give Anthony Edwards 31 points. I mean, Anthony Edwards, all NBA. If I had to choose MVP over him or Shea, I would choose Anthony Edwards, in my opinion, just because of how he changed his team from being a top 10 to being the number 1 defense in the league. Not only has he improved from his numbers, but he played in Team USA. I know Shea played for Canada, but I mean, you could give that award to either one. And then obviously Jokic was a finalist and the MVP as well. But I'm happy if Shea gets it. I'm happy if Ant gets it. And if Jokic gets it, I mean, like, you can't really tell me why he's not the MVP of the league. But in this game, Anthony Edwards' second half just torched them all. I mean, he was hitting shots in front of KD, in front of Booker. I mean, whoever was on him was getting the business. And if you look at the 3 free throw discrepancies, it was pretty evenly called game. Phoenix has had size issues all year. 44 rebounds for the Timberwolves, 33 with the Suns. They also had a more offensive, turnovers. They had just about the same turnovers, but Minnesota capitalized on those turnovers instead of Phoenix. And then the points in the paint battle was just about the same, but when you have Karl Anthony Towns at 15 points at half, and then they come in the second half, and he ends up finishing the game with 28. Jaden McDaniels, who has been one of the best defenders in the league this year, not only does growing a few inches helps, but I mean he played really well. He had 18. Conley didn't really shoot the ball too well, but with him being the point guard for this team and being that veteran who's been there in the Western Conference Finals and has been in the playoffs, he's just been that good veteran presence that kind of not only just calms everybody down, but he's a guy that can make threes, facilitate, play really good defense, like I said, and it's just a calm, collective point guard and individual for this team. And Rudy Gobert, only had 5 rebounds, but was a force on the defensive end with 2 blocks, and he did get 9 points. And then Naz Reid only had 4 shot attempts, but 6th man of the year, gave you 8 points. And, the bench for Minnesota outscored the bench for Phoenix. I mean, and it just, with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, they both combined for about 62. 82. Yeah. 82 points. and then everybody else, the next highest were Bradley Beal and Nurkic with 9 points. So, I mean, I don't understand what Phoenix is going to do because those three guys are locking up to about $150 million over this offseason. Um, I mean, the Lakers and Suns have a lot of thinking to do with this, and it's I don't know. I mean, I really feel like Bradley Beal can't play with these two just because. I mean, when one is not there, he's fine, but when all three are playing, it's a little bit like the Brooklyn Nets big three, but kind of I don't know if you could say worse. I would say they would be worse because they just got swept, and the Brooklyn big three did not. Um, yes, Kyrie Irving was hurt for that Bucks series with KD and James Harden. James Harden came back with a hurt hamstring, and he wasn't really himself. But I mean, this is the first time I feel like Kevin Durant's been swept, and he was 12 of 17, 33 points. Booker was 13 of 21, 49. So I mean, them two balled out. Everybody else did not, and I don't I don't understand with Phoenix not relying on Bol. Yes, he's 7'2", and he a big? Not really. He's a really really undersized five as far as the weight and physical stature, but he didn't play. You have Drew Eubanks, who's your backup center, and he's 6'9". You didn't play him, and I know that both everybody's relying on less guys, but with more minutes. But with Phoenix, I don't understand with what they were doing, and Kevin Durant played the five. I, you know, at times, and he played the four most of the year. So he needs to play on the wing, regardless. But yeah, another sweep, and then the last sweep that happened was the Thunder and Pelicans. This was probably a no-brainer. Zion was not able to play in any of these games, so that kind of hurts from because he got injured in that Lakers play-in game. But there was no the best games were game one and this game right here, game four. Both teams shot pretty well, I guess, but Pelicans wasn't able to shoot well from three and from the field in general. They did make most of their free throws, but they did out rebound OKC. But just because they out rebound doesn't mean that they're gonna win. They did turn the ball over. New Orleans did, and they lost a point in the paint battle. Obviously, with Zion not being there, it probably could have turned the tide a little bit because Zion is such a matchup problem because of him being undersized, but at the same time him being so strong, and being that point forward for New Orleans. But this was kind of evident and kind of expected for OKC to sweep them. Shea had 24. Jalen Williams, who could have been a most improved player candidate, or he might be. I forgot who was in there, but I feel like that award goes to Kobe White. Other than that, Jalen Williams had 24 as well. Josh Giddey shot some really clutch threes in this game. He had 14, and Dort had 11. I mean, this whole starting five, is one of these starting fives where if all of them have double digits, it's going to be very very hard to stop this team. Plus, if you have guys like Isaiah Joe, who didn't shoot the ball too well from three at all, but he only had two. The other Jalen Williams, he had 3 points from a three, and Cason Wallace, who didn't have it going either. I mean, they have so many guys that can just shoot and space the floor. It is really, really insane. And plus, if you ever need veteran leadership. You have Gordon Hayward as well. So this team is really, really stacked. And then, Herbert Jones for New Orleans. I mean, McCollum had 20. Trey Murphy wasn't able to shoot from three very well. Valanciunas had 19, but and then Najee Marshall did his best coming off the bench with 16. But this whole team, was without Zion. They played differently, and Ingram was not able to be himself. He was 2-14 with 8 points. So it was just not a good shooting night for New Orleans. And it's like everybody says, it's a make or miss league, and unfortunately, it wasn't in their favor. But yeah, those are the three. Those are the three sweeps, well, two sweeps technically with Lakers going out in five. But yeah, I mean that's for I think, and we're just gonna do the Western Conference first, since we're already talking about the West already. The Clippers and Mavs have been the best series coming out of the West, as far as the competition and how evenly matched these two teams are. Um, as far as Game 4, I was able to watch about half of it. I was working, so I was able to find find ways to watch half of it. Um, I mean, both the Clippers came out strong in the first quarter, and then the Mavs came back. It was a back and forth game. This was Game 4 was very, very interesting. Kawhi Leonard did not play. I know that he was struggling in Game 3 with his injury, and he played 25 minutes, and then he only scored 9 points. So that was a very, very interesting to me. So he didn't play in this game. And both teams going back and forth. Like I said, Paul George had 33, Harden had 33. James Harden was basically Houston Rocket James Harden. That night he went 12 of 17, 4 or 5 from 3, and then Paul George 33, 7 of 10 from 3. I mean, both these guys were on. Norman Powell was able to get buckets off the bench, plays some really good defense, and then Russell Westbrook, he only had 5 points, but he's been the best. He's been the most consistent player all year for them off the bench. And then Mason Plumlee was able to get in there for about 14 minutes just to get him some boards, and he can pass. So he gave him 3 assists and 2 blocks as well. So this Clipper team played really well. And then with the Mavs, they've had issues with their defense. They've had defensive issues all year. They just didn't get the timely stops that they needed. Luka didn't shoot the ball too great from 3 at all. He went 1 of 9, but he ended up getting 29, 10, and 10. Kyrie Irving has been I'm trying to figure out how to explain how good Kyrie Irving is and how good he's been playing with this Mavericks team this year. In this game, he did have 7 turnovers, so that was not very good. But he did have 40 points. He had 7 rebounds, 5 assists. How he can do the things he can do, I have no idea. Everyone's like, sometimes I like to take Kyrie Irving because I just like his game. I know that he's got an ego, whatever, and Steph Curry has no ego and he can just move around and shoot. But I mean, Steph Curry can't do some of the things Kyrie Irving can do. I mean, he made one of the plays of the week probably, was he finished a layup on 3 guys. Steph Curry can do that. I mean, and I know Steph Curry is a top 3 point guard of all time. He's got 4 rings, 2 MVPs, Finals MVP, and all-time leader in 3 points. But I mean, Kyrie Irving is the best finisher at the point guard position we've ever seen, and I don't understand. I like it when you watch it. It's like magic. No, I'm still baffled on how he was able to finish that layup. Daniel Gafford, only gave him 5. Derrick Jones Jr. He had 14 and 7. And I do know that there was one. This could have been Game 3, But in this game, I think it was. I think it might have been this game. I'm not really sure. I think it was, yeah, it was game three. Never mind. But yeah, and then PJ Washington only gave him 10, and Hardaway didn't even play last night either. So their best bench scorer did not play. Um, but yeah, I mean, both this series is going to be the best series out of probably probably this whole first round, because this is going to determine who's going to play Oklahoma City, and the Clippers. I feel like are the best team as far as matchup wise, but as far as Dallas potentially winning the series, I don't know who's going to guard either Luka or Kyrie the way that they're playing, or the way that Kyrie's playing, because he went 50% from three and went 14 of 25 from the field. He only missed 11 shots, and but yeah, it was isolation ball for the Dallas Mavericks, and if you look at the team stats here, as far as assists, they both matched, but how many points were just based off isolation baskets, and they did lose by 5, and look at the free throws. Obviously, no one's perfect, and missed 20 of 20. Missed 5 free throws. They could have tied it. If they made all of their free throws, and Dallas didn't turn the ball over. They've always been a turnover team. And yeah, I mean, if you look at the large lead right here, 31 points, obviously going into probably the second quarter, 31 points, and then they've only led by 4. And this shows you how dangerous the Dallas Mavericks are, but it also shows you that, the Clippers weren't able to hold a 31-point lead to get it done, and they, almost fumbled the bag here. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the best series that's out there right now. We're gonna change it to the East, the East portion of the playoffs. Where to go first? I mean, might as well just go with Indiana and the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis has not played, so obviously, they're expecting, everybody in the sports world is expecting Milwaukee to lose. The first 3 games, the first game with Indiana, it was a hard game to watch just because it felt like everybody was nervous. Tyrese was nervous. Miles Turner, even though he's had some playoff experience with Sabonis when Sabonis was in Indiana, and that was when LeBron was still in the East too. So it was a different time back then. But everybody that wasn't Miles Turner or T.J. McConnell seemed like they were extremely nervous. They were just shooting the ball, and they just kept shooting because they were open, and that's how Indiana's been all year. Has been an offensive juggernaut. Let's try to get the ball up. Let's try to fast break transition buckets. And they end up losing by about 15 in the first game. Damian Lillard scored about 40, and Chris Middleton was awesome in that first game. Game 2, different story. The Pacers were able to be calm and collective, and they ended up blowing out Milwaukee 125-108, and then Game 3 was probably the best game of the series. Went back and forth, and at the very end, Tyrese Halliburton, had that game-winning runner at the free throw line, foul and one. It was able to make the free throw, and yeah, I mean, they were able to make the timely stop at the very end to limit, just in case there was a half-court heave, and yeah, I mean that. And then unfortunately in this game, in Game 3, Damian Lillard did strain his Achilles, and Game 4 happened about 2 days ago, the 28th, and Lillard did not play. So Middleton and Brook Lopez, and I mean the Milwaukee tried the best they could, but it just wasn't enough. I mean, Brook Lopez, Middleton, and Beasley all scored 20 plus, and Miles Turner had arguably the play of the week as well, dunking on Brook Lopez. Like, that was just absolutely just disgusting. It was filthy, and Tyrese Halliburton, 24 points, shot well, 50% from the field. You know, Aaron Neesmith had a great game as well. On the defensive side with 2 blocks, he ended up getting 13. T.J. McConnell with 8, Ben Shepherd with 8, Obi Toppin with 13, and Doug McDermott only played 3 minutes. He got a 3 in there or whatever. But I mean, their bench too. I mean, both benches. As far as the main contributors that do play, Obi Toppin was getting 13, Ben Shepherd and T.J. McConnell combining for 16, so that's 29 points right there. And compared to Milwaukee's bench, 4, 12, 18 points, and 20, just about 20. Gallinari played, so I guess he just had 13 minutes going into the fourth. But yeah, I mean, Indiana was my pick to win this series, and Bobby Portis only played 7 minutes, so hopefully he didn't get injured. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch this game, but once I knew that Damian Lillard wasn't playing, to be honest, I just didn't watch it because I'd rather hear that Milwaukee won just so I could go in and evaluate what happened, how they win, why did the Indiana lose. But I mean, next game I think is today. Today on TNT. It's in Milwaukee, but I do think Indiana will close out the series, and if not, they're going to go back on May 1st on TNT again and close it at home. But that's that series. The Celtics and Miami Heat, they play today or Monday today. Derek White is just the headliner of this game. He had 38 points. The first quarter was just a barrage of threes from him. He had like 19 going into halftime, and then he ended up getting 19 in the second half as well. But he went 8 of 15 from 3. He had 3 blocks. I mean, this dude is the X factor for this team in the playoffs. He played extremely well last year in the playoffs, and then he's just carried it over through this whole year. And he had 38. Tatum had 20. Jaylen Brown had 17. Drew Holiday doesn't even really need to score. He got him 11. Al Horford being old reliable. He ended up getting 7 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steal, and 2 assists in 34 minutes. Unfortunately, in this game, he did get dunked on by Bam Adebayo off a lob. But yeah, Miami, Jimmy Butler didn't play. And then Duncan Robinson only played 3 minutes. And with Duncan Robinson playing 3 minutes, he probably just played in the fourth quarter when they were getting blowed out. And this Miami. Oh, I forgot Jimmy Butler has an MCL sprain. That's why he didn't play. I forgot about that. But yeah, this team has been injury prone this year, or at least in the playoffs in this series. Terry Rozier, neck spasms, was able to play, and Josh Richardson had shoulder surgery, and so unfortunately he wasn't playing tonight. And so most likely, series is over. I know in game 2, Tyler Hero just went absolutely berserk, 24, but there's no way that this is gonna last. And I'm just gonna show you this one thing. I mean, obviously this wasn't gonna turn the tide in the game. This is a 13-point swing here, so it potentially. But this is what happened in this play right here. So obviously, pick and roll, foul right there. And typically, when a foul has occurred, the guy who's got the ball normally tries to get a shot off, tries to get warmed up, right?
ball here.
Obviously,
We got a foul.
that, and then,
as Derek White hits the deck.
with the flagrant
Jason
foul,
Tatum
with the landing,
falls down trying to pick up a foul that
he
I think
rolled
he may have rolled his ankle as he was going down.
There's the foul call. He
didn't even touch him, really.
Shoot it.
Like, you're going to see a better angle here in just a second.
Yeah, but there's no
but at the same time, like, they gave Bam Adebayo flagrant foul, so you're going to see
get a warm-up shot.
Pick up a fowl that I think he may have rolled his ankle as he was going down.
There's the foul call. It's
at the same time, it's like, I don't really think he deserves a flagrant foul.
You're not going to let the guy. Yeah, but there's no. The foul's already been called. You're not going to let the guy just get a warm-up shot.
He didn't touch him. You're going to see it here.
Ready for the next one.
I guess he might have, but at the same time, like,
I don't think there's anything there.
I don't know. I don't understand some of these rules here. And then they also gave him a technical foul too for this. I mean, who knows? Maybe this could have swung it, but I don't know. I highly doubt it. But yeah, that was the last thing from this game. The Knicks and 76ers. Jalen Brunson has been showing us why he's All-NBA. With this All-NBA format, I know I'm just going rambling and everything, but he's showing us why he should be All-NBA. And with this All-NBA being positionless, I don't like it. I guess this is just me being old-fashioned, but I mean, like, Jokic could not be an All-NBA first team because what if it's Jalen Brunson? What if it's Luka? What if it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? What if it's Ant? What if it's Booker? That's 5 guards right there. And I don't think Booker's going to be all first team. It's probably going to be Jokic in there. But I just don't understand why we have to go positionless or whatever. I don't understand it. I don't like it as an All-NBA rubric. I just don't. But going back into this game, he only missed 16 shots, 18 to 34, and he ended up getting 47 and 10. Basically putting this team on his back. Miles McBride. I know earlier this year they traded Quentin Grimes to Detroit to get Alec Burks and Bogdan Bogdanovic in that deal. And McBride ended up getting 13 points off the bench. Miles McBride ended up getting 13 points off the bench, 3 of 5 from 3. DiVincenzo didn't really play as much down the stretch as I thought he would. But even then, he's been balling out for him. He only went 3 of 11 this game. He only had 8 points. OG Anunoby has been Anunoby. However you pronounce his last name. I just gave you 2 pronunciations. But 16 and 14. Didn't shoot. He didn't make a 3, but he did shoot 50%. That trade is reaping rewards. He played the most minutes with 47. And then he had 3 blocks as well. And then with Philly, somebody's got, Kelly Oubre stepped up with 19. Maxey had 23. He didn't shoot the ball too great. And Embiid went 7 of 19. Went 1 for 6 for 3. But Kyle Lowry only made 1 shot, made 4 free throws. I really don't want to say the series is over, but they're going back to New York. And that game is going to be played today as well. As of April 30th today, even though I started recording a little bit later on Monday, but but yeah, I mean, I don't know how Philly's going to come back from this. They did get out rebounded. Um, both, they didn't shoot well at all, like, with some of these star players that I mentioned. And I mean, it's Joel Embiid. He's not 100%, and he's playing on a bad knee and playing against um, an injured Knicks team without Julius Randle. Um, and yeah, I mean, this Knicks team is just. And then, speaking uh, of maybe how they could win, maybe not having Josh Hart getting 17 rebounds. That's just for starters. He had 5 offensive rebounds. He had he had more than half of the 76ers offensive rebounds as a team. So maybe show some better effort boxing out on the defensive glass for Philly. But I mean, Josh Hart has been a really good rebounder ever since he's been in the league with LA, with New Orleans, and now with the Knicks. But I mean, he didn't make a shot at all. He made 4 out of 8 free throws, but 17 rebounds he had. 17 motherfucking rebounds. Like, I don't know. It just shows how hard he plays and everything like that. But yeah, they just hopefully Philly gets this under control, because this is not good. Tyrese Maxey, I think, won most improved. And he deserves it too, but I mean, this next game, both of them got to go for 30 if they want to win, because Brunson gave him 47, and I just Tobias Harris had 10. He's got to step up. He's got to give him 15. Oubre's got to give him 15, and then Kyle Lowry, if he just gets 10, he had 7. But he just needs to get you 10. And, if the Philadelphia 76ers win, But yeah, hopefully they keep the series alive, and Philly can come back to Philly and play Game 6. I mean, this has a potential to be a 7-game series. It does. It's just Philly's just got to play well, obviously. But yeah, and then the last game of the Eastern Conference, this has been a weird series to me. Cleveland and Orlando Magic. Obviously, you look at this just on paper, you're like, well, Orlando's young, haven't really made a postseason in a very long time. And I say that, and it's like, oh, well, they might have made it the playoffs a little bit, a little bit ago. But yeah, Orlando Magic is a young team. They haven't made the playoffs since 1920. So basically, I think it was the play-in game for the COVID season. So it's been about a good 4 years since they've been in here. Game 1, Cavaliers took business at home. Game 2, Cavaliers beat them at home. But when you look at these scores here, it's very, very close. Especially Game 2, they only lost by 10. But in this game, it's like, okay, well, Donovan Mitchell, I feel like he got 30. Paolo, in Game 1, played his butt off. I mean, this was just a hard-fought game, and then, they were able to close. The Cavs were able to close it out. But in this game, in Game 3, I feel like Game 3 was able to give Orlando Magic momentum. I did watch the first half of that game, and then a little bit going in the third quarter, and it was just a absolute blowout. Evan Mobley in Game 3. Let me just take this off before I talk about Game 4. Evan Mobley in Game 3 was dominating in the first half. He had about 14 to 16 points, dominating the offensive glass and playing really good defense on Paolo Banchero. And then they just stopped going to him. They Garland and Mitchell didn't really shoot the ball well at all in Game 3, and basically, it just seemed like going into the third quarter, it was pretty much over. Evan Mobley had 10 points the whole game. It just, I mean, they weren't able to shoot the ball well at all, and make or miss league. The Orlando Magic shot 51%, 35 from three, and almost 88 to 90% from the free throw line, and that's just how if you can't make a basket, fortunately that's just how it's going to be for you. And then game 4, it was a lot like that again. But I mean they shot a little bit better, but they weren't able to make any threes. For Cleveland wasn't able to make any threes, and Franz Wagner is an underrated player in the Eastern Conference and in the league as well. He ended up getting 34. 34. Jalen Suggs, I feel like, is another underrated guy. He is still young. I think this is his sophomore year. Last year was a little up and down. He did have some good stretches. He did have some bad ones. And this year, he's improved on his 3-point jumper. But at the same time, he's been a really, really good defender for this team. They have on ESPN, they have him listed as a shooting guard, but the way that he's able to defend the point guards and the guards at this level has been, I wouldn't call him an elite defender yet, but he is getting close to that Alex Caruso type of defender, and Alex Caruso is one of the best defending guards in this league. And Jalen Suggs had 12 points. Didn't shoot the ball too much, 4-7, but that's all you really need. If the bench, if Markelle Fultz is going to give you 12, and I'm just glad for Markelle Fultz being able to be on a playoff team, and improving on his jump shot, improving on his skills, because at one point I thought he wasn't going to be in the league for very long. He had 12, and Jonathan Isaac, him coming back from his injury, and some of his off the court issues with the bubble and everything. I mean, he ended up getting 5 of 14, 5 of 7 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3. Sorry, I ended up kicking my desk on accident there. But yeah, I mean, this Orlando Magic team, man, once they get going, I mean, they're young and they're very, very dynamic. And at one point they led by 30, and that was basically it. So hopefully Cleveland can make this a 6 or 7 game series. They just haven't. I guess they're just in a shooting slump. But they do go back. They do go back home, Cleveland. They do. This game is on NBA TV. But yeah, that is all of the games. I didn't really give too much on what's going on in each game, but tomorrow, as far as maybe tomorrow night, I will give a consensus of what I saw, and at least try to diagnose the game a little bit more. But yeah, we're just going to give you the playoff bracket here. Thunder sweep, so they're going to go to the semis. Denver's going to be in here with Minnesota, and then obviously the East haven't been decided yet, but these 3 on the East play tonight, and who knows, maybe Indiana and the Knicks close it out. And then Wednesday, it's just going to be the Celtics and Heat, probably closeout game for the Celtics, and game 5 of Clippers and Mavs. So that is all about basketball. We're done with sports. We're going to talk about Movie Monday. Movie Monday. Last week, I was able to at least get some studying out of the way and take a break. And I saw a movie called Monkey Man. Monkey Man is recently new to the theaters. It just came out, I think, about a week or 2 ago. supposedly, um, due to some of my digging of this movie, was supposed to be on Netflix. Jordan Peele, there was an article, and he said that he saw a little bit of he saw the film, and he's like, "There's no way that this movie should be on Netflix. This should be a cinematic experience." So he put this movie underneath his production label, and that's how this is in theaters. Basically, what this movie is about, basically according to Google, it says a young man ekes out a meager living in an underground fight club where night after night, wearing a gorilla mask, he gets beaten up really, really bad, and by popular fighters for cash. After years of suppressed rage, he discovers to infiltrate the enclave of city's sinister elite. As his childhood trauma boils over his mysteriously scarred hands, unleash an explosive campaign of retribution to settle the score with the men who took everything from him. That's basically the synopsis of what this movie is. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 84%, Metacritic at 70, and IMDb 7.1 out of 10. Dev Patel directed this movie. This is what he looks like. For me, in my generation, my first movie I saw him in was the worst adaptation of The Last Airbender. It was awful. It was garbage. But at the time, it was like, oh my God, this is so freaking cool. Whatever. He was Zuko in this movie. But he is more known for, obviously, The Green Knight. And then he was in Chappie. Those are his three main projects. And then, obviously, he's made for this one. But what's cool about this movie, guys, is that this was his first movie he directed. And Jordan Peele was the producer of this movie. And when you look at this cast, this is the Green Knight cast up here. But Monkey Man, I mean, this cast is basically all Indian. Obviously with six exceptions with this guy and this person right here. But yeah, this movie was his first movie that he's directed, and he was the lead actor as well. But yeah, basically based off of what this description was talking about here, this is going to be in spoilers. I'm going to put a timestamp to where you can skip the spoilers if you do want to go see it. Basically, Dev Patel character, kid, was, grew up in the forest with this tribe of people, and this guy named Reyna, was at one point was a general in the army or armed forces of some sort. He burns down the entire village, burns down everything. And Neela is played by Aditi. I don't even know. I'm not even gonna pronounce it, but she played his mom. In the movie, we know that she died, but later in the movie, apparently Reyna killed her, beat her to death, unfortunately. But yeah, this starts basically he's trying to find this guy and kill him because he took everything, and he tried to save his mom and burned his hands. So he looks at his hands; they're all burnt up really bad, all this and that. And yeah, I mean he wears a monkey mask, fights to try to earn money because he is in a poverty, is in a place of poverty, and it's basically Robin Hood, but without stealing any money, but just action and trying to send a message back to the people that took everything away from him. The action sequences in this movie are fantastic. Not only did he perform them very well, but during shooting, they were doing some fight choreography and stuff, and he was doing most of his stunts as well. Unfortunately, during one of the stunts that he was doing, he broke his left hand. So when you watch, if you ever see this movie and you see a lot of right hand movements, it's because his hand, like you're gonna see him like do a lot of fighting, but with one hand being still and bandaged up. So when you look at a lot of bandages, that's because one, his hand was broken, but two, he's also a fighter too. So like, but at the same time, when you're looking at him, this hand does not move. The left hand does not move very rarely at all. So there's one scene in an elevator where you'll see it, and he basically fought off two guys with one hand. But not only is it good, there's sprinkled comedic parts in there, but overall this movie is a fantastic movie. Apparently in this movie he does find out that he is part of a god. There is a Hanuman in this culture in the movie is a monkey who ate a peach, and then he was able to get supernatural powers and fight and become super strong. And apparently when he leaves the city and shows up in this forest with this group of people, he learns to overcome this trauma, and while doing so he kind of finds out that he has that little golden peach or mango that is deep inside him. And obviously he goes into basically the Rocky Balboa training montage, all this and that, and he was able to go back, kill everybody, and fight everybody that he needed to. And at the very end, he does kill the leader of this political movement, and at the same time, he does fall. And it's led up to speculation to where he lived or died, but yeah, we don't really know. You can assume that he died because he did just pass out from exhaustion, and the guy did stab him in the chest and twisted the weapon in him. But yeah, this movie, guys, I mean, this is an underrated movie as of right now. I haven't really been able to see a lot of movies, but this summer is going to be interesting with movies and going into the holiday season as well. Lots of movies are going to be coming out. The Fall Guy comes out this Friday, May 3rd. Hopefully, I'm going to try to see if I can see it on Thursday and then do a reaction to it. Or at least on Thursday's episode. It might be at night. That I'm not really sure when I should start doing these episodes, with me being at work so late. But yeah, I mean, my episode might be recorded at night and then uploaded the next that same day, or at least, but I'm not really sure. But other than that, I really do think that this movie does need to be seen. This movie is very, very good. It's not predictable. It's not cliche. There's some first-person cinematics in there as far as the of how it's shot, the culture of this movie, the music, the soundtrack, the chemistry with these actors, and the action sequences. It's a lot of hand-to-hand combat, and it's insane. This movie is really, really good. I highly recommend you seeing this. I'm trying to see it for a second time. It was this good to me. The marketing department wasn't really pushing this movie at all. Like I said, it was supposed to be on Netflix, and a lot of people are probably going to wait till it does go on Netflix. But this movie in theaters is an experience that I feel like everybody should have, and everybody needs to go see because of how good Dev Patel directed this movie. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Y'all have a good day, and I will see you guys next time.